Welcome to Scream Queens Horror Movie Road Trip Podcast. Hey, final girl, Miss Justine.
Hey there, soul survivor, Mr. Josh. How are you? How have you been?
I'm doing just dandy. If you guys are listening to our show and had just listened to our show, our previous show, that is, then you will know that we are kind of in the North Carolina region. We're just leaving Wilmington now, if you listen to our Blue Velvet episode, and now we're going up the coast, and we are going to the Outer Banks. Tell them why, Justine.
We're going to the Outer Banks to record episode 58. We're covering the Lighthouse and doing a Lighthouse tour.
Yes, with our main lighthouse. Our biggest draw is the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. It's one of the biggest brick lighthouses there is. And we're so excited to see it.
Lighthouse, like a brick lighthouse. We're getting all kinds of... Okay.
Yeah, we're the weirdos that go to the beach in the off season. So
yeah, we're getting
but it's going to be beautiful this time of year with
fall.
Yes, I'm so excited. It's going to be gorgeosity.
The tide coming in.
But we figured, hey, let's do the motherfucking lighthouse and go see some beautiful lighthouses. How about that?
Oh, yeah. And so that's exactly what we're doing this very moment.
Right now.
We've left Wilmington, and here we are. We're heading all the way up north and east.
Up north east.
To the Outer Banks, and we're going to talk about the Lighthouse, the 2019 Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, directed by Robert Eggers.
Or I like to say it's Bob, and Will.
Is that what you like to say?
Yeah, they're my friends, so I call them Bob, and Will when we hang out.
Bob, Rob, and Will, or are you like Bob Egg and Bob Pat?
They're Bobs to me.
Bob.
When we hang out, like Bob,
and Will. Bob, and Will.
Sometimes we like to call Will Bill. You know, we're like... So...
sometimes just...
This was one of my favorite movies of 2019. We saw it in the theater. It was awesome. I left just like, holy camole.
Holy
cannoli.
Camole cannoli.
Camole cannoli.
Holy roly toly.
Holy roly sholy moly.
Roly poly.
Cannoli.
Yep,
that's right.
We walked out and my mind was emoji blown.
We were like, wow, wasn't that just something special, Justine?
Yes.
And she was like, yeah, Josh, that was something special.
A wonderful romantic adventure we had just gone on. These two lovers whisked away to a lighthouse and just having romp.
And lots of farts.
And, I mean, a little gas, but who doesn't have gas?
I love a movie that really addresses the problem of gas and the pain it can cause, especially when you are in close quarters with somebody. Like, this is a real issue.
I feel like he just suffered from traveler's constipation, and
back then they didn't have Beano back then, or Gas X. Mm-hmm. You just had to fucking fart.
Yeah.
Wherever the hell you are.
They don't even know. They don't know what we know yet. We've got to get in it.
We got
tell
to get
them
up
about
in
the
it,
farts.
between it.
And let them smell the farts. And...
But yeah, this is very minimal cast. Like we said, Bob and Bill.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe are our main characters, and the movie starts on them. And Robert Eggers shot this in a very old-fashioned style. You know, it's the old square frame. I can't throw out the aspect ratio now.
It's like a 19 point blah 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 1 ratio aspect ratio.
And it's
Horatio.
Horatio, yes, Horatio. That's what it is. And it's, black and white, of course. It's that very grainy black and white.
Grains, like
sometimes
plantains.
It feels like a little overcranked or undercranked. Like, he does a really great job of setting the atmosphere and you really feeling like maybe you're watching a movie that was filmed.
Yeah, maybe a turn of the century kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where it's playing a little catch up every now and then and the lighting gets a little too dark like right when you just need it to be a little clear, and it's like, no, I'm not going to be clear because I want you to be a mystery.
Especially when you're trying to see Robert Pattinson's penis when he's like cry masturbating later in the movie.
I definitely, this is not a movie where I enjoy always seeing him stroking it, but he's crying.
And he's weirdly hot in this movie too, like really grungy and dirty, but I'm like,
okay.
Robert Pattinson with a little edge to him.
Maybe a little daddy. Another daddy.
You can cry masturbate. It's fine.
And we'll get into that too. My goodness, there's masturbating, crying scenes.
But the
feeling of emotions.
The movie just starts. You see a boat approaching from the distance, and you just get that overpowering foghorn over and over. It's like
you can almost like taste the sea and smell it, and
absolutely.
It's very atmospheric.
And he sets the atmosphere. You're right, like right away, like in that one shot with the foghorn, and then we get to a close-up shot of them, like kind of right when they arrive. They're just standing there staring at the camera.
They're drenched in like rainwater and like the ocean spray. You can tell it's been maybe a miserable trip.
Was it cranberry ocean spray?
It's a little cranberry ocean spray cocktail.
Favorite.
That's what I like. And they're just they look miserable. It looks like it's probably miserable.
Yeah, it doesn't look like
miserable.
And it feels isolated. One, from that shot he set up with the boat far in the distance, out in the middle of nowhere. Two, then them just standing on this island. He sets the scene and the mood perfectly within those first few seconds.
And there's a towering 70-foot lighthouse, and we're like, oh, so this is it. This is the movie.
So this is it.
This is it.
Little yacht rock. Robert Pattinson. They love the yacht rock.
Wouldn't that have been a completely different movie if they arrived and he pulled his phone out and immediately started playing the yacht rock station?
Yeah, also it's like, do you like pina coladas?
And Willem Dafoe's making pina coladas, and that's what they do throughout the whole movie, is just have a real yacht rock fun vacation taking care of this lighthouse.
Oh, that would be like such a fun buddy comedy movie.
It really would.
Damn, let's write it.
Bernie's.
We're gonna sue you guys if this movie comes out.
It's like a weekend at Bernie's,
but
at
no
the
one's
lighthouse,
dead.
and it's just the two of them.
But I mean, sure,
getting along great.
We could kill somebody and make it like more like Weekend at Bernie's, but we digress. But
okay, so they arrive. They don't know each other than we're about to be working together for weeks on end by ourselves.
And it's awkward. Like, they're kind of just having to work around each other, fart around each other.
Literally farting around each other.
They
There's pick their beds.
Of farts in this movie.
It's immediate, like, put down your bags, this is your bed, and then it's Willem Dafoe who's always farting.
And weirdly, it's like you can smell it.
Yes. It's atmospheric in that way as well.
You don't even need, like, a John Waters Odorama card. You just smell Willem Dafoe's farts.
And you know they're probably, like, they're obviously, like, farts from, like, fish.
Like lobster farts.
Yeah. So, fish farts and crustacean farts. Okay, but we didn't give the name. So, Robert Pattinson's playing this character, Ephraim Winslow, and Willem Dafoe is playing Thomas Wake. And so Thomas Wake is supposed to be like the captain, or
Antonil.
Yeah, he's the Captain Antonil.
They start singing, have a rock band together. We're the Captain Antonil.
But he's very kind of like dominating and degrading immediately towards Ephraim, just making him know his place. Like his jobs that he's gonna do. Ephraim's like, well, we could share the duties of the lighthouse.
And he's like, you don't talk back to me. He's very abusive in that way. He's very no nonsense. He's like, hey, I'm your superior. You do what I say, and there's no problems. You don't do what I say, there's going to be lots of problems.
You won't get paid.
Yeah.
Like, he is always holding that over him. Like, we don't get paid until we get back, and if you act up any of this, I'm going to write it down in my diary.
Dear Derry.
Dear Derry. And you're not going to get
Ephraim Winslow is a son of a bitch. Don't pay him.
And we feel a little sorry for Ephraim, and are kind of like, dude, what is this guy's malfunction?
He has him doing things like he's carrying this huge, massive, heavy tank of oil or gasoline up all the way to the top of the lighthouse, and then Willem Dafoe's like, oh, you should have just brought this little canister. Now take that back down. Like, almost sets him up for failure and, like, trying to humiliate him.
Doing the degrading jobs of, like, having to put the lye and all of the outhouse, like, all of, the number twos. Making the number twos not so stinky, taking care of all of the excrement.
Like, he's literally in the foghorn at one point, like, cleaning it out. It's a really funny shot when he's climbing out of it, because it's so massive and he's so little in it.
And when there's a scene of him walking with, like, these containers of
chamber
shit,
pots,
and the wind is just spraying the shit
back
in his face, and it is just like, oh, you can taste that. Gross.
Smell it, taste it, touch it, see it.
All of it.
All the senses.
Okay, so they arrive, though, and we get that, like, shot of the boat leaving, and it's very kind of ominous. It's way gone. You're just like, oh, God, they're stuck. You get this isolation. They're stuck. They're not going to be doing nothing. And
besides working and all the stuff we just mentioned.
Yes, yeah. But they're not getting along very well. They have their dinner scene, and where he kind of pressures them into drinking.
Well, they don't even drink until it's supposed to be like their last night there, right?
Well, but he drinks every day, and they have that initial...
I'm talking about Robert Pattinson, Ephraim. He doesn't drink until it's supposed to be his last night.
Yes, yeah.
And he won't really let him drink either until that last night he pours. He's like, go ahead, do it. It's our last night. The boat's coming for us tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And this is when things start getting really weird for Robert Pattinson's character, when you kind of start, like, what is reality on this island that they're on? Is it because of the drink? Is he going crazy? Are these things really happening? You know, I feel like once the drink is introduced to Robert Pattinson is when things start going really bad.
Yeah, because what he's seeing, Robert Pattinson's character, Ephraim, is that, like, every night Willem Dafoe's character, Thomas, goes up to the top of the lighthouse and gets naked, and you could see him up there having some weird, like, mystical experience with the lighthouse. Almost like you think he's up there, like,
masturbating or something, and this goo falls down, and you're like, oh, he's getting, like, nut on him.
Yeah.
And then
he's getting jizzed.
Then more and more keeps coming, you're like, oh, that's maybe like octopus goo.
Yeah, and we do see a tentacle.
You
or
see
what
a tentacle slide
maybe
by.
like, or maybe it's just like
his imagination,
the mysticism of the lighthouse, and it's like creating these like hallucinations for the Ephraim character. We don't really know, like, if it's all real or if it's in his head.
Did we mention that Ephraim found in this little hole in his mattress the mermaid?
We briefly talked about that.
He finds a little mermaid, like a little wooden figurine, like stuck down in the hole that he's got a finger out.
Yeah, and he does, like, he has visions of the mermaid at one point. He thinks it's come ashore, and maybe he fondles it a little bit.
And that's, again, after the drinking.
Mm-hmm. We find, like, they do kind of get to know each other over the dinners that the Captain Thomas makes, and it's always kind of basic, just fish and stuff, but they do get a little bit of a rapport, enough that, like, once they start drinking, the Ephraim character feels like maybe he can trust him enough to divulge a little bit of information. But they're just getting to know each other, and he gets onto him because he sees that he's tormenting the seagull, and the seagull, like, over these conversations, looks like the character that the Thomas captain said used to be the Wiki that was there at the lighthouse.
Yeah. Yes, that, and also earlier, Robert Pattinson's having visions of seeing, like, the back of his friend's head, and he's seeing someone out in the water, and at one point he goes out there to, like, find the guy, and you're like, who is this guy? And then he's down in the water, and this mermaid is, like, down there screaming, and, you know, he wakes up, and we don't know what's going on, and he's having all these visions and strange things happening to him, and the seagull is pestering him at every corner, and it's like, it's the same seagull because he doesn't have an eyeball.
Yes. And he starts, like, that becomes a thing, too, because the Captain Thomas guy is describing the other wiki that was there before and says, like, how that wiki went insane and died. And it looks a lot like, or, the description of him, it's like, oh, they look like it's the soul of the dead seaman. And it's over dinner.
Dead seaman?
Oh, gross! Ew, jizz joke! And you just said nut earlier, and...
Yeah, it's getting out of hand. It really is. Too much goo in this episode.
Too much goo. We just, oh my goodness. This is also not a movie that's supposed to make sense.
Yeah, and so, like, trying to describe it, we're a little all over the place because there are so many scenes of just, I don't want to even say random. There's nothing random in this movie, but what you might perceive as random because all of a sudden you're seeing mermaids and tentacles and what you think might be jizz, or, it's just like overwhelming your senses, scene after scene. And then there's so much, especially once they both start drinking, there's just so many scenes of them just losing their fucking mind and yelling at one another and berating one another and almost making out with one another.
Ooh, yeah.
It's like a lot of homoerotic tension between the two, and
you've got some homoerotic
tension
between
me.
The two. Okay, so let's just start, or let's begin kind of like this next part by, this is the downfall, like this is the last kind of, we get into the manipulating aspect where the day comes where Winslow finds out that, like, oh, it's my last day here and I get to leave, and
that's when he drinks.
We have a farewell drink, and then they go out and they're standing in the rain again, waiting, and it's like terrible rain weather. It's not just like droplets on your face. Mm-hmm. It's like you're being like splashed and sprayed. And
they've been making all these preparations too, cleaning house, trying to get ready to leave.
And then we see the boat way off in the distance, and it's like not able to come in. It's way too treacherous.
And then it cuts to, all of a sudden, he's telling him, we've been trying to leave for weeks now,
mm-hmm. and
we're rationing, and you won't stop eating everything.
And that, like, literally is what happens. They walk back inside from, like, to be in the safety outside of the rain, and he, like, berates him and is like, you haven't been basically rationing. I'm the one over here telling you that we need to do this, and every day
you're
laughing at me. You're not listening to me.
You're laughing at me.
And it's like, what? Like, when did that happen? We've been here for weeks.
And Willem Dafoe is always throwing out the best insults too. And later Robert Pattinson comes with like the most descriptive, nasty stuff later. But he's always like, a sperm whale's pecker, and
they both have a way with words.
Yeah, and Willem Dafoe even says that later.
It's after, like, then that, like, even our Ephraim character has his, like, unraveling, and he kills the seagull, and it's
brutal.
You watch a white rock just become black smeared.
And you see a seagull turn into a black smeared rock.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, again, dumping lye or working on the toilet thing, and the seagull just comes and is staring at him.
It's the same seagull that's been bothering him.
The one-eyed seagull.
Yeah, so... And
he's just had enough, so he grabs it by the neck and just starts banging it against, I think it's a rock, or it's that...
it's like a chamber, but it's within the stone.
Like, that he is, like, cleaning and has the poop down in it. But yeah, he beats up the seagull.
He beats him up.
Beats him the fuck
Sorry
up.
about that. And it's the camera, like, pans up, and we see that weather vane, and then
the weather changes.
The wind switches direction, and that, like, then the worst weather starts coming in, and it, I guess, is
and they're getting crazier, and they're drinking more and more, and they're laughing and
running out of their rations to the point that
drink turpentine with honey.
They're so delirious that they just take the honey and I guess just to cut through, so to make it a little sweeter. And there's a lot of awesome camera work and making it look real old and them looking real...
and it's raining and they have their shirts off and they're just like beastly and just losing their minds.
Grizzly.
And cackling madly and just drinking this turpentine.
It's a lot.
It's fucking crazy.
I liked how you said it's like takes over your senses because it's so true. Like when I mentioned like you can just taste the water, I really feel like a lot of it is like it just takes over your senses. This movie is like, oh, I can feel that.
And
I can.
A classic A24 slow burn. Like it's, I think, definitely a horror movie, but you're just watching these men slowly delve into madness, and that, or they're crazy. You know, there's so many options going on here.
Yeah, there's
are they delusional?
A sea god that stays there in the lighthouse, and they worship it, and then they get to become in it. Maybe
it's like
they
what
have
really
sex
is
with
going
it.
on. Yeah.
We don't know. Even at one point, because there's a lot of monologues that happen too. Willem Dafoe has a lot of awesome moments where he's just rattling off maybe a curse that he's thinking up because Ephraim pissed him off and doesn't like his cooking, so he's like, hark! Hark!
And that really insults him. He like even almost starts crying. He's like, "But you like my lobster?"
Yeah.
"But you like my lobster?"
God, yeah. While they're kind of like bickering like an old married couple in that they like start like griping at each other over the food and how you don't make anything that's gonna get. Oh my gosh, it's good. And also they have these amazing accents and like dialects that they like perfected for this movie. There's just so much wonderful attention that has been like placed at every angle. I appreciate just how beautiful it looks, even though it's also really horrific and scary, and there's a lot of not prettiness about it. It's grisly and gory at times.
It goes there. Not just the seagull. There's a lot of bashings and things that happen in this film.
So now they're to the point where they are drinking turpentine and honey, so they're poisoning their bodies. I can't imagine the damage they're doing to their brain cells at this point.
And just their guts.
Yeah, like their blood
their
alcohol
esophagus.
level.
You know, just like,
you could probably light them on fire and they'd combust.
That's
how
insane.
terrible. And then
just be eating away their insides.
Weather is just barreling through. Eventually it's going to take over the lighthouse and flood it. But we get more of the manipulation coming from Captain Wake, Thomas Wake. And at some point we get the spilling of the beans around this is when Ephraim decides to disclose that he actually murdered somebody and assumed his identity.
Yeah, Ephraim gets comfortable with him at one point. They've been doing a lot of drinking and hugging and, you know, almost making out, smooching. But he tells him, my real name's not Ephraim, it's Thomas. Just like you, I'm also a Thomas. And I didn't murder somebody, but I let someone die. There was a guy I worked with, couldn't stand him, wanted him to die. And luckily one day he fell between the logs and I didn't help him before it closed up and swallowed him up. Yeah. I just stood there watching him. But you also wonder, okay, are you sure? Did you push him in? Like, how much truth are you telling right now?
Yeah, because he does say that, like, people went around saying that, oh, well, maybe he pushed him. But so he had to, like, skip town and find a new life.
Identity he took that guy's identity, right?
Yeah, he took all of the info, his little tin or whatever.
Identity.
His identity. Identity.
Anyway.
Tit.
Immature.
That was really immature of you guys. Yes, we know.
This decision is probably like the worst decision he could make. Now that Willem Dafoe has something to hang over his head. And he is kind of like, I don't know if this is supposed to be in his head or if this is really happening, but there's like the
the voiceover of Willem Dafoe, the Captain Thomas, going like, "Why'd you spill the beans? Why'd you spill the beans?"
There's even one scene where Thomas is, or Ephraim Thomas,
Yeah.
E.T., we'll call him E.T., where E.T. comes in and is going to stab, like going to kill him, and then just doesn't in the last minute.
Yeah, he wants to get the key so
He
that
wants
he
to get
can
the
get
key.
up into
He
the
has
lighthouse.
his knife ready, like if he wakes up, I'm just going to fuck him up.
Yeah. He'd gotten it at dinner the night before.
But he wakes up, but then he almost just like, he aborts the mission.
Yeah. Thinks better of it. Like, oh shit. Do I want to have murdered 2 people? Do I want to be that guy?
No one wants to
Not
be
the Black
that
Widow,
guy.
but like the black, like...
Lightkeeper? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's starting to sound racist.
What?
Just
No, not at all. Okay, let's keep going. Now let's get to our last bit of, okay, so, oh, I love this. Yeah, let's get to just when Wake is chasing him around with that axe. And how it's shot, too.
It's shot like a horror movie. He's running up behind him.
Yeah, it reminds me of The Shining, in a way. Like, him just running with that axe. And also because the Captain Wake guy has got a peg leg, so he's with, like, a limp, and we just see both of them in that same, shot, like, running and being chased after. And there's not really a lot of music, but what music there is,
it's like foghorn music.
Yeah.
It's like everything is kind of accompanied with an underlying foghorn.
Yeah. And it's like if the foghorn's like going,
like pulsing.
Yeah, like then it's like shit's really happening and you're with it, your heart is racing, and oh my goodness.
It definitely adds to the tension.
High tension?
Hot tension.
The high tension of this movie. Okay, so he's racing after him, and then Thomas Ephraim, E.T., he tries to get to the little lifeboat because he's going to get off of the island. I'm getting out of here. This guy is insane.
And then
he starts
hitting the lifeboat.
Yeah, like axing it up, destroying it, and
like,
chasing him
that's
around.
That's your one way out of this island. What the fuck are you thinking?
These guys are crazy.
Do you think he just wants to be close to him?
Yeah.
He's
like, you know what? If I can't have you, no one can have you, bitch. I'm gonna axe you.
This movie is like the ultimate single white female, but it's like single white lightkeeper. Lighthouse keeper.
Oh my gosh. What about, when he has his little dream and E.T. has his little dream and he's fucking the mermaid that he saw like in the water.
And the mermaid has this big, like, flappy pussy.
Huge vagina.
It's like, good for you, girl.
Absolutely, girl. You embrace that full...
There's a lot of folds.
Mermaid vag.
A lot of folds.
Yeah.
A lot of lips.
Maybe that's a thing, though, about, like, mermaid
women
vaginas.
have just, like, mer lips.
Yeah, they have their own...
Lots of mer lips.
For entry point. And if he's not, like, jerking his gherkin and crying and...
He's sticking it in the mer puss.
Because he's always, like, masturbating to that little figurine until he finally gets the real thing, but then you find out it's just a dream. Yeah, she's sounding all like a siren.
Because this is maybe like the 3rd time he's seen her. He saw her earlier on the rocks, and she was like impaled, right? And he's like taking the seaweed off her titties and stuff, and then she just starts screaming at him.
Laughing at him.
This time she's like, okay, I opened up my mer puss.
Yeah, you're fine. Get up in this mer puss.
Enter me.
Unter me.
You may
I give you Merkinson. Apparently, when mermaids like it, they laugh. So that's why she was laughing. Is because she was really enjoying it. I mean, that's just what I hear.
She kind of screams like a porpoise with purpose.
With purpose. I was about to say, like, how do you know how a porpoise screams? Like,
a porpoise with purpose.
A porpoise with purpose. Oh God. Okay. So, he's chased him around with an axe, and they've gotten drunk, and he's had this dream, and then he wakes up, and the whole place has been, like, flooded.
Still smells like farts.
Still smells like Willem Dafoe's farts.
Or as they say in Tangled, smells like the color brown.
That's true. A fart does smell like the color brown.
Sometimes it smells like the color green.
You smell like the color green.
Thank you.
But I think green is like, evergreen.
Outdoorsy.
Yeah, like outdoorsy. Like, I like that smell.
Well, I'm thinking like a pea green.
Oh, okay, like
Sometimes-
exorcist green?
Sometimes a fart can smell brown or a pea green.
Okay.
There
All
you
right. Yeah, sure.
Like-
or even like a mustard yellow.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a mixture.
Like diuretic.
Oh no, those are sour too.
Moving along.
Okay, so we have this like culmination of
Is this
things
their
that
big
have
fight?
happened. Yeah,
Where
They
he
have
tells
this-
them you smell like curdled foreskin.
Yes.
And jism. Like he
Jism.
names off like the most foul things you can think of and says like, I'm so sick of you, Thomas. You smell like curdled foreskin and
You
jism and just all this nasty stuff he names. Nasty. It's
I guess
nastiness.
like really he was just trying to hurt his feelings at
He
this
just
point.
wanted to hurt him.
Mm-hmm. He just wanted to hurt his feelings.
When
Guess what?
When he apologizes
did.
later, he'll say that, like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean any of it. I
Yeah,
just wanted to
except
hurt your
for
feelings.
He doesn't apologize. He kills him.
Oh, that's
but
right.
Yeah, that's okay.
Robert Pattinson's like, not only do you smell, but I'm getting rid of you.
I'm gonna hack you up and I'm gonna bury you.
So
and
they
then
get in this
make
big fight.
Yeah, like we're gonna get in this fist
Like
fight.
they're throwing hands.
They're throwing hands. They throw in fists. They throw in dicks.
They throw in their mamas.
Oh, they both brought their mothers. I forgot that they pulled them out at one point, and they'd been sitting playing
She's
bridge.
like, hi, darling, woo! Against the room.
They have hairnets on. They've been sitting playing bridge together, just waiting, like
Little blue-haired
oh,
ladies.
No, that would have been a funny movie. Okay, so yeah, they get in this fist fight, and then they start. They're trying to kill each other at this
Literally,
point.
kill
Like
each other.
there's an axe that's involved. There's
A leash.
a leash submission act going around acting like a dog. There, he then buries him.
He makes, and he's pretty like submissive about it too.
Yeah.
Like at this point, he's been like hit once with the axe.
Yeah.
And he's in there just letting him pile the dirt on him. I mean, he's cursing
giving his
him.
little
and-
like soliloquies.
Yeah, giving like one of his final long speeches, and Willem Dafoe's great at giving these speeches. I almost wonder if they come from like excerpts from old diaries. One thing I really like about Robert Eggert is that he's really into folklore, as you probably know by seeing The Witch. But like The Witch, he took a lot of like real stories to kind of put together to make this movie as well. And I just wonder if any of those speeches were actually something from history or from like a lighthouse keeper's old diary. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I know a lot of the stories, a lot of the things in the movie are stories kind of put together to make this one big awesome movie. But
yes.
I love that he loves folklore because I love folklore, and folklore can be fucking terrifying. And
Yes,
creepy.
they're just old PSAs.
Yeah.
Making sure that you
Don't fuck a merwoman on some rocks.
Bad news bears for
you
sure.
Might go crazy. And
Yeah, and this movie with the two characters is specifically like from like an 1801 tragedy of two Welsh lighthouse keepers, and then just boom, he came up with a big ass story around it. But yeah, he's got a lot of like lore and old history.
a lot of stuff with the mermaids and like
Yes.
Poseidon and like the seamen.
Love it.
The
And
sea
he
creatures.
did a lot of like he wanted to make it kind of Grecian in a way. And so yeah, like Poseidon and
Greek
stuff.
tragedy,
Yeah,
yeah.
Greek tragedy. So okay, so
he buries him.
He buries him.
But then he has to kind of go back and unbury him to get these keys off of him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh fuck. So there's kind of this like morbidly funny scene where he's like pulling him out of the dirt for a quick second to like get the keys out off of him, and he struggles a little bit, but he gets those keys.
And then he races up to that lighthouse.
And he's
he
like,
knows what he wants more than anything
Yes, he's
in
been
this
wanting-
whole world.
This whole movie he's been asking, like, when am I gonna get to like man the lighthouse or go up there? I should be able to go up there too.
Why isn't it about me?
And Thomas Defoe keeps telling him, keeps telling him, like, no, you don't get to go up there.
No.
And so he's like, haha, you dead. I'm
Smell
going
like
up
farts.
there.
See ya.
Your farts!
Your farts!
I'm so tired of your farts!
You smell like farts!
I'm sorry if we just pierced your ears with the word fart over and over in
Farts.
a terrible Maine accent, but
Farts.
there you go. Farts!
Yes, he runs up to that lighthouse, opens it up, starts to look into the probing
light.
eye of the light.
And
as
earlier,
it gets bigger and bigger.
And it's kind of reminiscent of a shot earlier where Willem Dafoe, we actually get to see him up in the lighthouse staring at the light, and he has like this mug and he's cheersing the lighthouse, and so
very entranced.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how like this shot is. E.T. is just staring at that light, like just so like it's almost like he's learning the secrets of the world or something in this moment.
You can see like those little circular lights, or like those little images, the little circles that get people all like entranced. That's what it looks like to me. It's like, oh, he's just being like woven into the beauty of the light, to the point that his eyeballs light on fire and he's screaming because he is learning all of the like terrible
something's happening to him.
Something of the universe, and he just can't handle it, and then he's laughing because it's all so fucking funny. And then all of a sudden he slips on some oil because he's a stupid clumsy bitch.
And he falls all the way down those fucking stairs.
The 70-foot fucking lighthouse.
I'm like, really? You couldn't have stopped yourself at some point, sir.
Grabbed onto anything.
Do
you
you not have the will to live?
I think he was trying out for the next Olympic team, so he was somersaulting, trying to like show like how many revolutions he could do.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah, certainly they're gonna want me on their team. No one wants me on that team because I'm a murderer. But I guess he ends up just rolling his ass all the way outside.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's like at some point crawled and lost consciousness.
And the next shot we see he's totally naked, but again, we don't get to see that dick. No D from that Robert P. That's for sure.
No D from the P.
No D from the P.
But we get to see other, like, inside.
And he's covered, like, in bird shit, and his guts are spilling out, and he's getting eaten up by seagulls.
Yes, the camera zooms in on him, and a bird is shitting on him. Just bloop, dropping a big old turdy-purdy.
I mean, and if he enjoys that... Oh, we're driving through Craven County, like West Craven County.
Oh, my God! It's West Craven County!
Papa Craven's watching over us right now. Anyway, sorry. But he's naked, covered in bird shit, and we don't get to see his dick.
Don't get to see not even the tip. It's
not even like a hint of a ball.
Not at all.
No ball
not at all. And that is where the picture ends. Is that last?
And we get more.
That's
like,
our foghorn.
Some foghorn.
This movie is not long.
You know, I gotta say, I love it when a movie ends with foghorn.
Yeah. I like when it opens and then gives me a teaser of it in the middle.
Only the classiest of movies end with foghorn.
Foghorn, yeah. More movies need a foghorn.
We need to class up this Hollywood joint.
If only more movies had a foghorn.
Yeah. Or farts.
Yeah.
One
farts,
or the other.
Yeah.
That's what
can't
this
wait.
movie really gives you, is a lot of farts and foghorn.
And after we see all of our lighthouses, we can make a whole bunch of our phallic penis jokes that we've just been... I mean, hello. The Lighthouse movie is two men just cleansing the shaft of this lighthouse through the whole movie. There's a scene where he's painting and he ends up falling from way up high.
And it's like Willem Dafoe just let him.
Yeah.
Too.
And what's he doing? He's brushing up the lighthouse. She's just rub-a-dubbing on that shaft.
I almost wondered too, like one of the times watching it, because the shot, he falls on those rocks and wakes up when Willem Dafoe drops him. It's very reminiscent of that end shot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's late. I almost wonder, like, did he maybe die there?
Yeah,
and
like
all this was like a fever dream, and then and then now he's
been picked
awake and he's
apart.
getting picked apart and eaten. That's one thing I've wondered. That's the fun thing about this movie. There's so many possibilities of like what it can be saying,
Yes,
or
absolutely.
what each scene could be meaning. Is it reality? Is it all in his head? Is it a dream? Is it
Maybe that's his hell.
a waking nightmare?
Yeah.
It's fun, but yeah, we're gonna go see some lighthouses.
We've got lighthouses to see, a gorgeous October off-season
Outer
Banks vacation to just indulge in for
We've
the
got
next
a beach
few
view
days.
in Kill Devil Hills.
Yes, we're gonna eat some seafood. We're gonna eat a lot of seafood, and we'll get in some beautiful pictures of our surroundings, the lighthouses, and bring it all back to you in just a few short seconds.
Yeah, just stick around, wait, listen to a little bit of our music, like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, that's it, and we'll be right back.
Okay, bye.
Bye. And we're back.
We're back, and we're back, and we're back.
We're here. We're better than ever.
Hi guys, we just got revitalized, refreshed, renewed, recycled, reused, whatever. We
reduced, reused, recycled.
At the bench.
At the bench. We laid on the bench. We slept on the bench. We played in the bench.
I played on that bench.
Lots
I
of
read a book
benches.
on that bench. On many benches, actually.
Many batches of the Outer Banks.
We just enjoyed 3 glorious days at the Outer Banks, and I'm not coming back.
And we did some amazing lighthouse chasing.
Oh my gosh.
We
Because
saw-
they were moving.
Yeah, we told you there were 5 to see. We saw 4 out of the 5. The only reason we didn't see one of them was because you had to basically like take a ferry out to go to it, and we just didn't have time for that. One that was like a 2-hour drive,
Just there.
then a ferry.
Yeah, and then back. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry guys, but we're road tripping, and we're road tripping, and we're road tripping, and we're road tripping.
We're doing a lot of driving on this drive, but we saw some amazing and beautiful, just very picturesque lighthouses.
4 unique lighthouses. Not a single one was the same.
Not at all.
Not even the same experience.
You know, they say lighthouses are like fingerprints. That they're all unique.
Oh, kind of like snowflakes.
Like
Lighthouses are like
snowflakes.
snowflakes
Yes.
and fingerprints.
Like snowflakes and fingerprints.
Oh my goodness.
Just add lighthouses to that list.
I would agree.
Yep.
We arrived at the Ramada on the sea. Basically, guys, we opened our balcony door. We were on the 5th floor,
And there was the bench.
and there was literally the ocean. It was coming in. I was like, what is that
I'm
salt
like,
water?
I'm like, shut the door, we're drowning.
Oh my gosh! And I had to swim back over to the balcony door and like close it. No, I mean, it was wonderful. Just the view alone, waking up every morning and being like, oh, hello there, bitch.
Yeah.
Hi.
Sleeping at night, hearing the ocean. It was like having a sound jar, a living sound jar, if you guys know what a sound jar is. It's an app where you can have ambient noises.
Yeah.
Anyways. It was just, we had the best view.
Seascape, yeah.
It was like the best sleeping right by the beach.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome.
We had some amazing seafood. We had some shrimp. We got a whole pound of shrimp that was seasoned with like Old Bay seasoning. It was glorious.
We just stopped at this cute little like hut that
hut,
sold all
yes.
kinds of like seafood and burgers and stuff, and we got a pound of some steamed shrimp, and we just sat on our balcony overlooking the beach and the ocean, and we just poured into it.
I'll say we ate a lot of meals that way, and you know, a lot of it's due to COVID, like just wherever we could, but we didn't want to like miss out on the good cuisine, so we did have some yummy, tasty treats, but maybe we took it back to the room and
Yeah, we
had
didn't
our
eat
own
out
little
anywhere.
parties. we got lots of different North Carolina brew beers and would just sit on the patio and have ourselves a good old time. And then we would get to go to our private beach.
Yeah, tell them how we got our beers. They have places there called brew-yous.
Brew-throughs.
Brew-throughs.
Brew-throughs. So we would, guys, just like you would drive through to pick up your food, you drive through and you drive into this like area of refrigerated.
It's almost like
beers.
going through a drive-through car wash, but inside the car wash are people selling you beer.
Yes, and pulling it from the refrigerators, and that was amazing. I was like, holy shit, this is changing the game for life. So now I know where I'm gonna be in 10 years, guys. I'm gonna be opening up brew-throughs in Oklahoma.
Oh.
You'll have to come see us there.
Come see us at our brew-through.
We'll be doing the podcast just sitting at our brew-through, like
selling.
Oh, or maybe not. Maybe we'll still be doing this. Probably still doing this because we love getting in a car and going places in our sound booth. Okay, so brew-throughs, we would pick up ourselves some yummy, tasty local brews, take them back to the little hotel, and eat some. Let's start talking about all of our lighthouse visits.
Yeah, like you said, they were all unique. The first night we arrived, we drove all the way down the Cape Hatteras, like, National Seashore or something. It's like a scenic byway. It was like one of the most beautiful drives ever.
It's
driving
like 45 miles of gorgeous,
like, sand dunes and water on both sides of you, and beautiful beach houses. And
it's like, look to the right, see some beach houses and see some open ocean.
And even
then
lighthouses. Like, driving down to Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, we saw the Bodie Beach.
Yes.
Or Bodie Island Lighthouse, which we would go see the next day. But arriving, going straight to Cape Hatteras is pretty magical. We got there right when it was getting dark and the light was on and spinning, and it was really cool.
Beautiful.
We may have taken videos of us twerking in front of the lighthouse.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
Maybe, yeah, you'll get to see them. Check out the TikToks and the Instagrams. You know that's where we're putting all of that shiz. We also, when we were there, got to learn about, what made Hatteras so special, about how it was, like, the biggest brick in the U.S., the second biggest in the whole world.
Yeah,
like,
it was a beautiful lady.
It was ginormous, too. It made me really, like, put in perspective, like, oh, gosh, in the movie, if they were having to take anything up to the top of the lighthouse, that journey was arduous and just so terrible.
And Hatteras Lighthouse is all white with, like, these black, kind of like barbershop spiral black rings going around it. It's so pretty. And then the Bodie Island Lighthouse that we went to the next day, it's white with just black rings, just circle rings, not going down like a barber pole.
Yeah. And I love how all of them are just so unique and different. Some of them would have the little house connected to the lighthouse where I guess, your lighthouse keepers would stay. Others, the property would be expansive and it would have like a huge house. So it just kind of depended. When we went to the last one, the Roanoke Marsh Lighthouse, it was on a dock in the middle of the water.
And she was little. She was over on Roanoke Island. We also visited the Lost Colony, Fort Raleigh. And that was really cool. We went hiking around there. We saw the Roanoke Lighthouse. We went to the Elizabethan Gardens, and that was gorgeous. We just walked around. Almost crashed a wedding.
Yes, like very much. We had no idea. They didn't have this little wedding blocked off. Josh happened to just be walking close enough that you could kind of hear like what would have been the, vows, like somebody reciting, and he made a little video about like crashing it. Should he run up there and
say like,
Paul,
you loved me? But I didn't.
No, he decided it wasn't his show. It
wasn't my day.
Yes, it was their day, not his day. So we got to stop off in Roanoke and see all of those things. That island, we kept thinking like, well, look at all the people living on the island now.
But Roanoke might have been my favorite just because it was super cute. It's little. We were making jokes about how picturesque the little town it was in is.
Yes.
It's like a Hallmark movie. with this little baby lighthouse at the end of this pier. And
I kept looking around for like some handyman to show me like what fall festival I needed to be working at, but
you're gonna fall in love.
no, nobody showed up. It was just you and I.
Just
I think,
us.
was that the only lighthouse we didn't twerk in front of because it was raining and
I
we
guess
were
we
like
didn't twerk.
trying to not. Well, like it was windy and our umbrellas. I think we had a reason, but the other ones we were.
I've been
twerking.
dealing with a shifty umbrella this whole time, and we've been getting lots of rain and drizzle. It's been very just like
a moody fall.
moody fall beach.
Mm-hmm.
We're just lacking big chunky sweaters, and I did wear some flannel. That
Yeah,
counts.
you had some fall wear. I mean, even
Yeah.
now it's rainy, drizzly as we're driving through southern Virginia, still in the western area. We're still got lots of fall trees and foliage, and
It's starting to look pretty around
no more
here.
beach though. But yeah, and then another fun lighthouse that we got to drive.
Yeah, this was really awesome. This was, even though it was the third out of the fourth lighthouse we saw, it was kind of like our big ta-da!
Yeah, the Currituck lighthouse, because we got to climb it, so that was fun. It's over 160 feet, but we climbed 140 to the landing, and Josh, it was
We
Okay.
risked our lives.
okay. So we arrived there, first hardest lighthouse to find out of all 4 lighthouses that we ventured to. It was the hardest, and have all of the little signs like where to go.
Yeah,
But
parking.
you
We
could
were like,
see
"Wait,
it,
I can see it.
'cause
Where do we park? Where do we
It's
go?"
a huge red bricked lighthouse.
Yeah, and that's what made it also different from the other ones. All the other ones are like white. This one is like
Mhm.
red brick. It was really cute.
It had a
Really
lot
different.
of acreage. It was all wooded, and what's funny is when we got there, I was like, "Oh, we must be, I guess, in one of the larger landed places on the island." We get up there, you could see the ocean on both sides of
Oh, it was
the
scary.
little.
Well, one, it's like spiral staircases. This
Yeah,
old
gosh.
wrought iron spiral staircase, and you're just going up and up and up and up.
And every
There's-
time you think you get to that landing, you're like, "Oh, it's gonna be it."
Oh, no, there's a couple more. I see them.
And it was nice because when we were looking up, I thought, "Oh wow, that's pretty tall." And Josh, he did the nudge that we needed of like, "No, we're gonna climb
Yeah,
it."
we sat there debating, like, do we go?
It was
The one thing kind of
drizzly.
keeping us away was like COVID. Like, should we be? But then we saw that you had to wear your mask. They had sanitizer there. You could only walk by people on the landing, so you weren't getting like shoulder to shoulder people
Yes.
coming down. You were able to avoid people.
Yeah,
going
and that
up
was
and down.
nice.
So, and we were sitting there looking at it. I have a weird fear of heights that nothing will stop me from going up high, but then once I get up there, I'm a big baby, and it's hard for me to come down. If I'm up like a ladder, I'm like, I don't want to come down.
Oh my god, no guys, he was all gung-ho about it. Like, "Come on, let's go." We were like on our 5th
like-
false landing where I thought we were about to walk out and it's not there. He's like, "Oh yay, like so excited." No joke, guys. Here we are with the very, very, very top. He looks out a window and I see his face, and it just like something in him changes, and he can't step out the actual.
Oh, but I did, and I walked all around it. I stood there for a minute, like back against it, like, well, this is as far as I'm going. I'm not walking around. I'm too scared. I was even scared to get my phone out.
He would no, like he wanted to like hug the lighthouse while he went around the landing, and it was windy, and it was a little slippery, but I never felt unsafe out there, and I loved it. You just held on like a spider along all of it.
Yeah.
We were safe, guys.
It was beautiful. Like, you could
Beautiful.
see the Atlantic Ocean. You could
On
both sides of
the marshes, the marshy
the Outer
areas,
Banks.
yeah, and it just gave new perspective to me, this aerial view, and it was like, oh, it is like a city on the sand.
Yeah.
Like, this no joke, this is all man-made. People weren't like hanging out here like doing a boardwalk in the 18th century.
You said all. Oh, I thought you meant like the Outer Banks man-made. I was like, no, the Outer Banks aren't man-made.
No,
The
like
houses,
all of it, yeah, like everything that we put on there, like to make it habitable for us. So I just looked at it and I was like, wow, look at what humans can do
Yeah.
when they want a vacation spot.
And I decided then and there that I could have never been a lighthouse keeper.
Yes, it was that day. It was on a Saturday.
I'm like, I don't care how picturesque it is.
Josh
I'm
realized
not climbing to the top every day.
I'm not climbing, not to the top.
Or at least I'm not coming out. I'll climb to the top. I'm staying in there with the light. I also have to tell myself, like, okay, this lighthouse is over 100-something years old. It's withstood hurricanes. I should be okay just walking around it right now.
Yeah.
So
I went around it and then realized Josh wasn't behind me, and then went full way around it, came back to the entrance, and he's standing there. I'm like, are you gonna do it? And he did. So we were so proud of him. Okay, so we got to visit all 4 of those fun lighthouses, and they were all scattered throughout the Outer Banks.
It was really cool. Like, we did something that we might not have done if we gone to the Outer Banks.
Yes.
We might have just done a lot of other things, but maybe not have gone to all the lighthouses. So it was fun going there with a mission of, okay, we're lighthouse chasing.
Here we go.
Then we decided kind of, we're not going to take that ferry over and spend almost a whole day doing that one lighthouse. When the largest lighthouse, we actually knocked off the first night. Mm-hmm. We were like, she's big, she's grand. Yeah, that's kind of like their crowning
beauty,
jewel.
She's great, she is Miss United States,
yes.
Right here. So we saw her, and then we kind of got like a little charge, like, no, we do need to see the other lighthouses around the Outer Banks. And we did a lot of other fun things, and like you said, went to Roanoke Island and saw where the Lost Colony Foundation might have been. It's still... Yeah. I love how they keep it a mystery, even though we're pretty sure at this point that they just went with the Croatoan people.
Out to Hatteras Island and lived and...
But just for the sake of mystery, let's keep it going, guys. Yeah. I love it. No, let's keep it. And we went to the Wright brothers. We went and...
Oh yeah, we went up to like Kildelva Hills, Kitty Hawk, and saw where the Wright brothers first flew.
And that was really neat, just seeing exactly why they even picked an area like the Outer Banks, because of the wind and the sand and the isolation. Like, they needed those elements, but they needed to have a lot of space where they weren't going to be bothered by paparazzi, because at the time they were, I guess,
people knew they were working on something. Yeah.
Commissioned to flying, us being the first in flight in North Carolina. Well, okay, so that was a really fun, really relaxing, but yet adventurous trip to North Carolina.
Yeah, it was really fun. Now we're in rain. Can you hear my...
Oh, I'm sure. Well, because of course it's not rainy enough for the blades to just go back and forth without sound.
It's like that weird mist where the roads are misty and wet.
Well, we're being safe, though, guys. Let's get back into the movie The Lighthouse.
Yes, after our lighthouse adventure.
Yeah, let's put them all together, see what was the movie The Lighthouse's experience, and then what was our lighthouse experience.
Well, I know I didn't fuck a mermaid.
Oh.
And I didn't become a mermaid that got fucked. So my experience is very different than the movie.
On my list, I checked both of those off.
Bitch, you should have told me, like, hey, I'm about to go turn into a mermaid and get it.
I guess you were asleep when you weren't making... Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was another thing that made our trip extra special, is every morning Josh would make a video of me asleep.
Well, bitch sleeps in. Goes to bed before me and then sleeps in after me. I'm like, get up, girl.
Oh, please, minutes. We're talking minutes you wake up before me. But he was making videos of me, not looking my queenest.
Oh, nothing inappropriate. Just her with, like, the
my
covers
ass
over her head. Like pillows over her head.
Yeah, that's how I sleep, because you got to be so loud in the middle of the night with all your farts. And
your farts!
Your farts!
So, favorite moments or
scene?
Yeah. What's your favorite moment or scene?
Gosh, can we talk about how I don't know really if it's so much possible to have a favorite scene? I maybe for me, it would be Willem Dafoe's like soliloquy where he gives his like hark, his monologue, because I find it to be really funny, and but also really scary, like because I'm a little teetering on that, like it's so funny that it's a little frightening, or is it frightening and so it's a little funny? Is he serious? Is Robert Pattinson taking him seriously?
Is
he
serious,
just drunk? But then, you know, when the mood changes, and obviously when Robert Pattinson kills that seagull, it's like, yeah, shit's changed. Everybody's a little off kilter. But I kept going back. I was thinking about this during vacation. Like, what is my favorite scene? Because I had a revelation whenever you brought this up on the first half of the podcast when you talked about how him falling, hitting those rocks after he was cleaning the lighthouse. Like, what if he had died right then and everything is a fever dream? So then that threw me off, and I was like, oh my God, now I don't know what my favorite scenes are because I don't know what's real, what's upside down, what's inside out.
They're in the sunken place.
They might not be. They might. But you know what? I like how Robert Eggers is leaving me with just this huge question mark of what this movie is.
He's becoming one of my favorite filmmakers. I can't wait to see what he does next. I'm hearing like a Nosferatu remake might be in the works from him, which is very exciting.
Wouldn't that be something to see what he would do with that story?
It's starting to rain a bit, guys.
Yeah, it just went.
But I'm with you. It's really hard to pick a favorite scene because the whole thing is like one connected, chaotic dream, I guess is the best word I can think of. And I didn't really want to use the word dream because we've been using it, and I wanted to come up with something else. But it builds. It's not that nothing is important. It's not just vignettes thrown together. It's all leading to something, and it's showing there is progression, even though you can tell from the beginning they're crazy. Like, they get crazier. I really like towards the end when they're having that last big fight, and he's turning into the different. He's envisioning him as, you know, like Poseidon, and then as the, you know, he keep the mermaid and the Poseidon, like he keeps changing, and then like the big kraken monster thing behind him, and I love all the fantasy elements. I love all the mermaid stuff, all the folklore, like we were talking about earlier, how he incorporates into this story is really fun.
Yeah,
so it's like all those moments. It's not just one scene. It's like all the really weird, mystical, storytelling, folklore stuff happens.
Everything is like connective tissue to the movie, you know, like that scene, and then like the seagull killing scene, and the mermaid fucking scene, and the scene where he ventures up into the lighthouse outside of Willem Dafoe's range of, you know, like eyesight.
And gets Willem Dafoe's like monster come on him.
Yes, like all of these things are like, is it real? Does it matter if it's real or not? This person's obviously going through like a lot of shame and guilt because he murdered somebody and then escaped with their identity, and then
or let someone die, basically. He didn't push him, but he let him die.
Maybe he pushed. I don't know. When he's saying it,
it's
you
like
don't
you really
know
don't
if
know.
you should believe him, because he did just tell you that he assumed somebody's identity.
And he really protests. He's like, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
I did
not. Yeah, like he's really trying to convince himself that he didn't.
Like, I didn't do it. So it kind of made me think, like, maybe he did, or
I think he did.
You, like, it is allowing something to happen in itself, like, the act, like,
it really reminds me of Phil Collins, and I can feel, like, you know,
I can feel it coming.
It's the story of him watching somebody die. But I'm like, but you're watching somebody die. Why don't you go help?
So Robert Pattinson is Phil Collins. Okay. When you are editing the podcast later and putting on the little subtitle line, it has to be Robert Pattinson is Phil Collins, and only after listening to this will people understand.
Yeah.
Like, what? Reference it later? What? Yeah, so I think that's okay if maybe we're a little like, I don't know if I have like a favorite scene as much as I just can say I'd rewatch this movie again and again and again.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, it's one of my favorites from 2019, from last year.
If we want to go ahead and just mention our knives ratings.
Yeah, 5 knives.
5 knives.
I like it that much.
It is, I don't really see any glaring like holes where I'm like, oh really? Well, that never came to.
Well, yeah, it's a movie you just got to go with.
Yeah.
You got to go with their logic. It's like this weird world from 100 so odd years ago.
I love how it looks and how he made it with the cameras and
All the performances are out of this world. I love Willem Dafoe. He has always been one of my favorites.
Maybe he's a hoe.
He was a good Dafoe hoe as Jesus in the 80s. I've loved him since.
Yes.
Last
Wow,
Temptation
Last
of
Temptation of Christ. Hi.
Yeah.
How are
hello.
ya?
I love Willem, not William. Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. Robert Pattinson. Be bringing the heat. Be enjoying him in it for show. There's the cast, like the mermaid.
Those two.
There's not very many. The other, like we had mentioned,
Yep.
people on the scene were just extras, or not extras. People on
Bob and Will.
from one of them was the grip, and the other held the mic. And then they got to wear
Diapers.
what do they call them? Wiki outfits.
Oh,
That's
wiki
what. Yeah,
outfits,
wiki.
yeah.
If you are a lighthouse keeper, you're a wiki.
Oh, yep. Learning things from movies is my favorite.
I'm getting taught, getting schooled. How about you?
Oh, I love school. Love getting taught.
I did love this journey that we just went on. Thanks for taking me to the Outer Banks.
Yeah, if you guys have listened to the last few episodes, we've been in North Carolina and we're leaving now.
We're gonna say ta-ta.
We recorded them at the same time, but you're getting this one in November time. So I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll be back next month for Christmas with...
Oh, we're going to cover Black Christmas, the 2006 version with Michelle Trachtenberg.
The first remake.
Yes, yes. We'll cover that, and we're gonna go check out we're gonna go in Sorority Row.
Check out some Christmas decorations and lights on Sorority Row.
It is going to be our Christmas December episode.
It's still COVID. What we were originally going to do, Anna and the Apocalypse and go to this zombie camp thing.
It was like a weekend where
it's like this weekend zombie role play thing. But
hashtag 2020 canceled everything for us. So we're just going with the flow.
So you're not getting a Christmas zombie musical. Instead, you're getting an awesome episode of us going sorority rowing.
Going sorority rowing. We're going to visit a university in Oklahoma. Not the University of Oklahoma. We're going to visit
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, university.
Because it's at least a good couple hours from us, so it allows us to road trip.
Gives us a road trip, and hell, I haven't been there in so long. I think we're going to stop off at that burger place that they're well known for, Eskimo Joe's.
We'll do something
we're going to figure it out.
But
thanks
you'll get
again.
An episode.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. We're grateful for this podcast and getting to bring it to you. So thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter,
Facebook, TikTok now.
Yes, we're on the tick and the talking.
And go rate and review us. It helps us a lot.
Give you a shout out. We love giving shout outs. Love connecting. That's it. All right. Peace. Bye.